Well, greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well today. Today's upload, I have 2 subscribers, one interview and one who decided to share her terrifying experiences. Before we get into this upload, though, a couple links. As you know, I rely on Patreon, PayPal, and my merch to help the channel to continue to grow and go. The links to Patreon and PayPal are in the description below, my merch displayed directly under the video. Also, Dogman Frightening Encounters, Volume 1, 2, and 3, the audiobook versions. They were written and researched by Tom Lyons, narrated and produced by me, Jeffrey Nadolny. Those audiobooks are available on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes, the links to which are also in the description as well. And finally, last but definitely not least, if you'd really like to support this channel to continue to grow and go, simply subscribe, click the like button, and please leave a comment. It really does help and it does matter. Now, everyone, I have taken far too much of your time. Let's get on with today's upload, shall we? All right, guys. So a couple of days ago, I had a subscriber came on. Her name was Amanda, and she had shared her experience with us in the woods of Maryland. She just contacted me with, she actually informed me last night that she had an encounter from a friend, and then she was talking to family members, and that family member also had an experience in those same set of woods. So, Amanda, how are you tonight?
I'm doing great, Jeff. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm hoping that it cools down on the East Coast sometime soon because it's excruciatingly hot.
Yeah, same here.
So, you shared your experience a couple of days ago about there's a small set of woods, and there'd always been, something out there you felt. And last night you had sent me that you had a friend that had something out there. I don't know how you want to share these time-wise or whatever, so I'm just going to turn the floor over to you.
All right, sounds good. So, after I shared my encounter on this show, I actually became more open to telling people. One day I was walking my dog, and I ran into a friend who walks up the road from my house where the woods are parallel to you. And I was just talking to him about stuff, and I told him about the show, and I told him about my whole encounter, and he ended up having eyes that were huge. And I said, "What's wrong?" And he said one day he was walking home, and it was about 10:30 at night, and he saw this giant, what he described as like a German Shepherd walking on 2 legs right on the edge of the woods. And I was like, "You're not playing around, are you?" And he was just like so afraid. And I said, "So what did it do?" And he said every step he took, it was about maybe like 50 yards away from him, but he was like walking, and he said it stayed right with him, walking the entire time. He said it had black eyes looking back at him, and it had no shine to him whatsoever.
Wow.
And he said that he was so afraid because he even said that it was so tall, and he's about 6 foot. So I said, "Did you ever go out there and see where it stood to compare?" And he said no, he was too afraid to go out by where it was. So today I ended up running into him, and we walked up to the woods, and I told him to stand where he saw it, and I went up, and he said it was easily over 3 feet my height, and I'm 5'7".
Wow. So easily almost 8.5 feet easily. Okay. And it's interesting too, because the eye shine or eye color was all identical to what you said it was too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what got me. Because I didn't tell him about the eyes or anything like that.
Right.
But I asked him if he smelled anything, and he said no.
Okay.
But it was a breezy night.
That's crazy. Now, you said he might be willing to come on, or?
Yeah, I could talk to him about it, and
That'd be great. I'd
I'm
love
sure
to.
he would love to.
Yeah, that'd be great because, just to have more people sharing is incredible. Now, the park that you had, just to remind everybody, it's not a very big park, right? I mean, we're not talking several thousand acres.
No, the woods are probably like maybe 4 miles long,
Mm-hmm.
and then maybe 3 miles wide. That's it.
Yeah. Wow, that's incredible. And now he just pretty much made it out of the woods successfully, obviously. Did he say what the creature did after he had seen it? Did it see him?
It was. He said it was staring at him the whole time he was walking.
Okay.
And like I said, he said it was parallel to him. He said he saw like a German Shepherd head. He said the arms were really long for it being like a dog type figure. And it was walking on 2 legs. And he said the brush it was going through, it was walking through him like it was nothing.
Wow. That's incredible. And now, how close to your experience was that? Like, right.
I have it on a map, but it was probably like not even a half a mile from where I had mine.
Okay. Huh. That is outrageous. Just to have, you're just sharing and then your friend validates this with you and his eyes, that's crazy. So you obviously know, I mean, right there, one person sharing, he didn't know, you didn't know that he had an experience, so it's kind of hard to lie about something like that,
Yeah, definitely.
And then you had a family member as well?
Yes, my aunt. She actually lives kind of right up the road from me, and they both had the experience right in the same woods and everything. I mean, she lives literally across the road from these woods.
Okay.
And she said one night she was getting home from work, and she said about like close to midnight, she got out of her car, and her dog was normally at the door barking for her, but it wasn't.
Okay.
Which she thought was very weird. And as soon as she got out of her car, she said she had this intense feeling like someone was watching her. Like she was afraid. Like, my aunt doesn't get afraid easily. And she was walking up to her house from her driveway, and she said this 2-footed dog-like thing started walking across the street from behind her house. It was watching her. She said it had the head of like a wolf. It was all black, had black eyes, and the top of its left ear was like missing. Had a long tail, and she said the chest and the arms were like humans, but they were dangling down long, and it had long claws.
Wow. And same set of woods that you and your friend had. Now, how close was this to yours and your friend's encounter? Like right in the same location, or?
It was the same exact location as my friend's, and like
Okay.
I said, less than a half a mile
Half a
from
mile
mine.
from yours, yeah. Wow. That is incredible. And you still, like you had shared earlier in your first interview, that you every once in a while do hear some strange noises out there as well still, right?
Yeah, and my friend said he sees it like every once in a while as he's walking. So yeah,
Wow.
I definitely would love to get him on the show.
Yeah, I would definitely love to talk with him. I think it's crazy that, I mean, I don't think it's crazy. Just a figure of speech that you still actually go in those woods and walk your dog.
Yeah, I mean, actually, after he told me today, I walked out and took pictures of the woods so I can send them to you and show you how it looks.
Yeah, I appreciate that. You don't mind if I use them in the video, right?
Oh, no, not at all.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I even took a picture of the map to show you where my encounter was and where his and hers.
Okay. Now, your aunt, so after that creature, now, was it behind her house or was it crossing the road towards her house? Just so.
It was walking from behind her house and going across the road to go back into the woods.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and there's like a little footbridge someone built in the woods because back there when I was younger, it used to be a tire swing.
Mm-hmm.
So people used to go back there, and she says that's what it uses to come in and out.
Wow. Now, was that the only time she had seen it as well?
She said she thinks she saw it before, but she wasn't sure if it was just a massive dog in the woods because it was on all fours. Okay. So she really couldn't say if it was or not.
Right. Wow, that's incredible.
But I told her I would love to set up like a camera outside of her house pointing at that area.
Yeah, that would be amazing. That would just like a cheap kind of trail cam, even something from like Dick's for like $40 or something like that, and get some pictures of it would be amazing.
Right.
Now, your friend, your friend is right across the street from this, and your aunt is right across the street from this. So they're on the same road as you two, or?
They're on the road that intersects mine. Theirs just goes up into the woods.
Okay.
My house is right outside of the woods.
Okay. All right. Now, are there any houses in like deep in the woods, or is it not buildable out there? Is it kind of like?
Unfortunately, they're getting ready to tear down all these woods and make it into hotels and stuff.
Wow. They might run into some trouble on that then. Now,
yeah, I have a feeling they will.
Yeah, let's say they did that. What would be the location? Are there woods close by to where that thing could run and possibly hide and, call home again?
I mean, there's woods directly across from my house, across the street where they're going to build. That's probably not as long as the woods that it could be in right now, but...
Okay. Wow, that's incredible. Huh. Now, when are they going to be doing this?
They already had the neighborhood meeting about it,
mm-hmm.
and it should be built within the next 5 years.
Okay. Wow. That's incredible. Yeah, I appreciate you reaching back out and taking, coming up with some pictures and stuff like that. I don't know, like you said, it's going to be within 5 years that they do this, but I'm assuming it'll probably be within a couple of years that they'll, have to tear down the woods. It's going to take some time to build.
Yeah.
If you don't mind, could you kind of keep an ear out and see if any of those workers sees anything, or if there's any unusual kind of vehicles after they start working, pulling up, and black SUVs, or just something out of the norm that really doesn't kind of fit into like a worker's vehicle or a local vehicle.
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. I'll definitely keep an eye out, and I've been keeping an ear out ever since I was on the show.
Yeah, I appreciate that. This is amazing.
I've been talking to a lot more people trying to find more encounters and stuff like that.
Yeah. That's crazy. And you said you had a map, so I'm going to put that in with the pictures that you're going to send me. Wow, I cannot believe that. And please let your friend know that anonymity is respected. So if he doesn't want to use his real name, we don't have to use that. And, that way we can just kind of get him on to share his experience in his words too. Let me know if you do decide to put up a camera. I'll split the cost of the camera with you if you promise to send me the pictures.
The cost is no problem, and I would, of course, share the pictures with you as soon as I see anything. They'll be coming your way.
All right, awesome. Do me a favor, don't hang up, because I'd like to talk to you for a few minutes. But thank you for coming back on. I really appreciate you reaching out, and it really does mean a lot that you reached out to other people and found out some other encounters in that area. I'm pretty excited about finding out what happens when they start working in there. And I would not be surprised if, some very strange, vehicles show up and, maybe they close down the work for a day or two or a week or whatever and, are hush-hush about everything. But you'll know what's going on.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, is there anything that you'd like to say before we end the interview? And once again, don't hang up, please.
Oh, I won't.
All right.
No, I just appreciate you having me on and taking your time to reach out to me.
Oh, I appreciate it. And once again, thank you so much.
Oh, it's no problem.
All right. Stay cool.
Will do.
So during the interview with Amanda, she had shared about how this Dogman had come from behind her aunt's house into the woods that her friend and aunt had all seen this creature at. I said, well, what is behind your aunt's house? And she had said that is the woods that she referred to if and when the woods that she had her encounter in, when they are torn down, more than likely that creature will venture over into that section of woods. There's more water. There seems to be deer, fox in that area, more so to hunt. So that is one of the reasons why this creature was coming out from behind her aunt's house. It's kind of strange, though, that this creature would actually cross paths or cross sections there and not stay in the woods behind her aunt's house. Something obviously is special to that creature for it to want to live in that section of woods. It's very strange. And her friend still sees the creature time to time. The aunt has seen it once prior, like she had said, and they still hear a lot of very strange noises in that area. So I did make mention of possibly putting a camera on her friend's property and her aunt's property, and hopefully we can figure something out. I'd like to get a camera maybe in the back and in the front of the aunt's yard. That way we get a shot of the woods behind her home and across the street as well. So very interesting interview. A lot of very interesting kind of information surrounding this area in Maryland. I've heard a couple of different accounts out of Maryland, and Maryland is not too far away from the hot spot that I talk about often. These things are just traveling and hunting, or maybe they get used to a location and stay in that location. Don't over hunt it, but hunt just enough for it to sustain themselves and maybe a small pack, maybe 2 to 4. And maybe that's why this one creature, or 3 or 4 creatures, have not left the area. Maybe the one that's being spotted with the black eyes is the alpha, or maybe it is a different creature entirely. So very interesting. And as she said, there are photos that are you guys are viewing right now. So very interesting upload, and I really do, that we can get some cameras up in that area, and hopefully we can get some video evidence of these creatures in Maryland. It would be amazing if we could do that. It would really be cool. So let's get on to the second half of today's upload. Today's second half will be another subscriber submission. This one will be narrated. Jeff, let me begin my email with a big thank you. Thank you for having brought this community of like-minded people together that feel safe enough to share their experiences without being embarrassed or ashamed of expressing their own fear. I'm no novice when it comes to living in the country. Home has always been southern Illinois for me. We have more area of Shawnee National Forest everywhere you go down here. My husband of 24 years and I have lived where we are now for 10 years. We live just close enough to a small town that makes shopping easy, but in the country and surrounded by heavy woods and swamp behind us. And to the side, a big creek full of fish and farmland in front that's surrounded by woods. Our daughters lived with us until they finished up high school and on several occasions would tell me how uncomfortable they felt, like they were being watched outside at night. When we first moved in, my husband's dog had puppies, and I got stuck potty training, which meant I would have to take them out before I went to bed. It was one of these nights when I began hearing a strange animal noise that frightened me. It was unlike an animal I had ever heard. The noise, as I described it to my husband, was like a squalling tire plus adding canine-type howls. These always came from the backwoods or the swamp behind the house. I heard that noise so much I learned just to accept it. But I've never gotten used to the heavy feeling of being watched. We had been there several years without anything happening. My husband was heading up the country road to see a neighbor, but got stopped in his tracks less than a half a mile away by a large herd of deer running across the road being chased by two huge canine-looking animals. He had his phone handy when the deer first began crossing, and was in awe of the two dogs, in quotations, chasing the deer. He showed me the original video, which was lost when he had broke his phone and hadn't uploaded the video. I apologize for not being able to provide you with it. The dogs, in quotations, were nothing like I'd ever seen. Even he couldn't believe how huge they were. They were bigger than the biggest buck. They ran on all fours the entire time. They ran fast, but looked very awkward because their front legs were much longer than their rear, and their head and chest seemed too big. It was scary to think something that big was loose. I was concerned that they could be attracted by the scent of our dogs, and although our backyard is fenced in, I knew it would be very easy for them to get over our 4.5-foot fence. Fast forward a couple of years for the next experience. I suffer from health problems that make it almost impossible to sleep. I was in the restroom at like 3 a.m. one night and had the window open which faces the woods. My dogs began going crazy. They'd been doing this regularly for a couple of weeks. Then I began hearing heavy footsteps of something on 2 legs walking up the side of our fence. All of the dogs but one ran scared to the porch. My Alaskan Malamute/wolf dog was the last one left growling and snarling at what she had seen. Then, by my window, I heard deep, raspy panting and breathing. My wolf dog finally joined the others. The breathing by my window continued for what seemed like several minutes, but I know it wasn't. I heard it take a few steps and it was gone. Another late night, and my dogs were reacting the very same way. I decided to be brave and see what it was this time. I stepped out onto the back porch with my husband's spotlight, and what I saw I cannot erase. In the darkness 200 feet behind my backyard, my light illuminated a black mass that was huge and had huge yellowish amber eyes. When the light hit it, it shrank down in the tall weeds and proceeded to make its way over to the big tree. It stood behind this tree and looked straight at me. I could see those bright eyes as well as this huge black head with tall pointed ears. Whenever it began growling, its ears flattened back, just like a dog when it's angry. That deep, angry growl resonated in every cell of my heart. The growl scared my dogs in the house. I ran in and got my husband, but it was gone when he came outside. In the morning, I measured the spot on the tree where I had seen the eyes and the top of its head. It measured over 7 feet. Then, just today, May 18th, at noon, I came home from town. It was pouring rain, but not all that hard to see. I was less than a mile from my home when a tall, solid black bipedal creature ran across the highway within a few feet of my car into the heavy woods. I couldn't rationalize what I was seeing in absolute daylight. The creature had a huge wolf head, large muscular chest and arms. It ran so fast I tried to tell myself that I couldn't have seen it, but I did. And so did the driver of the oncoming truck. I was so freaked out I felt I should pull over and get myself together, but I was too scared after watching it run so close to my car. I haven't actually said out loud what I saw was a Dogman in daylight. I'm still freaking out about it, and not at all feeling safe. Can anyone tell me if maybe it keeps coming around my house due to my wolf dog? She looks, howls, and has the attitude of a true wolf, only she's been raised by me. I didn't know if she was attracted to these things. Needless to say, I'm well armed when I go out at night, especially if my dogs are acting up. I'm wondering if I need to be armed 24/7 now that I have seen this in the daylight. Thank you for listening, Jeff. Just getting it off my chest makes me feel better. You can use my name and the area I live in. I appreciate all you do. Tracy. And here is a extra info email she sent me as well. Jeff, I just wanted to add a couple of things to my previous email. The dogs, seen hunting the herd of deer, had a weird gait, kind of loping like hyenas, but fluid even though they really didn't look natural. We had never seen any dog that looked like this. The night I saw it in my backyard, my spotlight illuminated those yellowish amber eyes, but it was like the rest of the animal was so black that its face wasn't showing any features until it was hiding behind the tree. That's when I saw the outline of its huge head, pointed ears, and when it growled, the ears laid back. My wolf dog weighs around 150 pounds, is 4 years old. She's normally quiet and doesn't bark. She only began to hear her howl last year when this Dogman began coming around. She's normally an even-tempered, sweet girl who doesn't have any issues with my other dogs or anyone who comes over. When the creature arrives, she turns into a full-on wolf with snarling, growling, gnashing, and showing her teeth with her full fur bristled. She looks and acts ferocious up until the creature begins growling angrily at her. She realized it was an uneven fight and ran to me. The day the Dogman ran in front of my car, I saw it clearly. Very black all over, very muscular dog-like back legs with long, heavy muscular arms, long fingers, and as it ran, the arms swayed back and forth, but the palms always faced back. The chest was huge, and the head was clearly wolf-like, with its large pointed ears flattened somewhat, and its large snout that was pointed like a German shepherd. It ran on its hind legs very fast and very natural, as if that's how it was meant to run. No man could have been costumed and ran across a very busy highway like that, or couldn't have been that huge. It never looked at me, even though it was a mere feet from my car. It disappeared very fast into the woods beside the highway. I can't think of anything else. If anything more happens, I will let you know. Thank you, Tracy. Wow, that is absolutely terrifying. Thank you for sharing that with us. I don't think, but I'm no expert, that the Dogman or Dogmen or, well, I don't want to get in trouble for not using proper pronouns for these dog creatures. Joke. Anyway, I don't think the Dogmen are attracted to the wolf dog that you own. Growing up, my aunt had a wolf dog. It was Malamute as well as Timberwolf. Chucky was his name. And he was a jerk. I wish he was as nice as your dog was. But the coy dogs would come up to his cage and he would tear at his like outside habitat to be let out. And, well, I don't know if play would be the right word. He would probably savagely rip them apart. But I think they were coming up probably looking for food, just like this Dogman is. And I think your dog, your wolf dog, is protecting your home because that is her home. That's her territory. She's protecting you, your husband, and her other mates in her litter. Your other dogs. But when this creature, just like you said, it's not a fair fight for your dog, then she'll run and hide. I think this thing may be just coming looking for food, or, we talk a lot about these things being terrorists. They love to terrorize human beings, and maybe that's it. Maybe they just terrorize us, and it kind of found a spot that it may feel your fear. Maybe it felt your daughter's fear when they were outside, and that's why it kind of stuck around. It sounds like there's ample food in the area. I'm swamped, so there's water. And I'm only assuming with that kind of food and water that there would be some sort of shelter for it to hide, even if we don't know about it surrounding our area. It's probably still there. So, yeah, definitely a terrifying experience. And please stay safe. And yes, since you've got this thing roaming around and you did see it in the day, stay strapped 24/7, and always watch your six. Be hyper vigilant when it comes to these things. These are no joke. These aren't like the guy who robbed the Home Depot or whatever. These things will tear you apart. They are savage. So just be safe, and hopefully it'll just go away. With that, I want to thank you for sharing that with us. I want to thank everybody for tuning in and listening. And be safe, and I'll talk to you later tonight.